Hey there, guys. Sean Michael here from On Microsoft. We are here to talk Microsoft. We have so much news that Sean and I literally had to say, probably can't include that story this week because it's not quite big enough.
That's
So
right.
if you want to read more about it, obviously head on over to onmicrosoft.com. That's on msft.com. So things from Mobile World Congress, Xbox, all that stuff's on there. But we're also going to talk about a ton of it here. And like I said, we have an absolutely massive show. We have Mobile World Congress, Windows 10 news, Windows 10 cloud news, Xbox news, mixed reality news. As Sean said in our pre-show, and remember, if you do join us live, kind of chit-chat a little before while we do prep work, and then we also do a little bit of an after show these days, so you get the live bonus. We had the everything's kind of trickling through, not a ton of news, and then bam, floodgates are open. Sean, how are you doing with this tremendously busy week when it comes to Microsoft news?
It is just a little bit overwhelming, but extremely exciting, especially because my favorite topic, Windows mixed reality, was front and center. So I'm super excited to talk about that today.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely great. I won't even humor our viewers with the normal playful banter about what's going on these days. I think I just need to briefly say, and then we'll get into your mixed reality stuff. Remember when we used to lead the show with build news? There were, I think, two. Well, there were technically four new builds this week, including some from slow and some from fast. There weren't any revolutionary new features, but we do have some hands-on things, and we have the breakdowns online. So if you want to read about those, that's there. But if you were here for build stuff, I just want to say because there wasn't much revolutionary stuff, we're not going to spend too much time. It's noteworthy that, as others have pointed out, the list of bugs is getting shorter, so that's a positive sign.
That's right.
Remember, most of us think it's going to launch in April when it comes to the creators update, so we're not really that far away. So it's good to see that. But so makes you, if you want to read absolutely everything that's been fixed, all the changes, all that, please head over to onmicrosoft.com for the written stuff. But we do want to get in some of the more earth-shattering news. And the first up is your stuff, Sean, with mixed reality, right?
Yeah. So big. So we, since I don't even know when, but for several months now, we've been anticipating the Windows mixed reality headset, which is kind of Microsoft's take on virtual reality and the unification of virtual reality and augmented reality, which Microsoft is calling mixed reality. So first things first, Microsoft has rebranded Windows Holographic. It's no longer called Windows Holographic. It's called Windows Mixed Reality. And the idea is that before, holographic was really, more tied to the HoloLens and things looking like holograms because they're, transparent screen and all that. Whereas mixed reality encompasses virtual reality and augmented reality. So I do think that the name is more encompassing, and more people in this field are starting to use the term mixed reality. So I think Windows mixed reality is great. Personally, I like holographic. It's more cool, in my opinion. But
It sounds more futuristic, but it's not as accurate.
yeah, it's not a true hologram. For those hardcore physicists, that there's a strict definition for holograms, and this is definitely not a hologram. But yeah, so mixed reality. So with that change, the very first developer kit for Windows Mixed Reality was shown at GDC in San Francisco, which is the Game Developers Conference, and everyone is clamoring to get their hands on. There's some rumors floating around that everyone at GDC got one of these, and that's not true. Only a few people got golden tickets, so to speak. And from people I know who got the golden ticket, that it said that it will be shipping to them in a few months. So nobody yet. Yeah, nobody. Let me see if I can get a screenshot up here of the actual device. I don't know if I. Oh, here we go. So let me pull this up for the viewers to see. So it's pretty cool looking. It's got kind of a Japanese anime feel, according to some commenters. Some people I've talked to says it's hideous and it's ugly. Other people says it's cool, it's modern, it's sleek, it's got a retro feel. Personally, I think it does look ugly in some senses, but it does have kind of a fun retro gaming feel to it. So I do think it's pretty nice.
Well,
Uh,
that's also the blue one's the developer version, right?
the bl- It does. Yeah, it says Windows Mixed Reality Development Edition, and yeah, I
But
don't know
there's
about
also,
the
isn't there
color.
another version that's not the dev one?
Yeah, so Microsoft has shown a ton. They've shown Lenovo's headset quite a few times in hand. There's some by Asus. There's some by HP. So I think there are at least 6 different headsets that we know about that we've seen pictures of that are not blue. And so this is the first one I've seen that's blue. So it could very well be that the blue color is exclusive for the development edition. I'm not 100% sure on that. Uh,
I think it looks fine, but it's not a phone that I'm using in my hand. It's a device I'm looking at from the inside, so I don't mind as much if it doesn't look sexy.
Yeah. So what's special about this? So somebody got to try it on at the GDC and wrote an article about it. You can, unlike the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift, you can actually lift up the visor. So you can actually lift it up when you're not using it. So let's say you're really immersed, and then suddenly you need to do something. You don't have to try and unstrap everything. All you do is just lift up the front. So that's pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah, and everyone who's running the insider preview of Windows 10 actually already has the mixed reality portal on their machine.
What? It's been on here the whole time?
It's on there. Yeah, you just open up the mixed reality app. So the device itself is not running the software like the HoloLens. In fact, the HoloLens is actually really unique because Oculus is not running anything, HTC Vive is not running anything, and it's the
Right.
same with this. It's actually streaming from your PC to the device. Your device is just a viewer in a sense, but what makes it special is all the sensors. It's got inside-out tracking.
Right, but the fact that it's streaming from one device to the other is very pertinent to something we'll talk about in just a little bit with Xbox. But yeah,
Yes.
I think that these devices, it's interesting. We've kind of talked ad nauseum, so I think for what's new or in the past, what's new about this is the name, it's the focus, it's that it's shipping, and I think it's great. Honestly, I think that if you are a developer right now, if you are into tech, this has to be a field that you're excited about. And we've seen that even from competitors like Apple who have talked about augmented reality. Obviously, Microsoft's invested. We've seen that they've made hardware and software for it.
Yeah.
But you've seen other major players talk about augmented reality or mixed reality, and it is really starting to pick up some steam. I think it's going to be a few years before the average consumer gets one. It's not going to be, in my opinion, like phones. Phones, when the iPhone came out, it wasn't that long before lots of people had them, and then eventually almost everyone in that can afford one does. I think it'll take a little longer for that to come in, but not as long as you might think, especially when it starts getting more accessible for price point, and then working with machines you already have
Yeah.
that works with your console or your PC. I think that's great.
Yeah. So the other big news is that uh, on the same day, I think it was, Microsoft announced that Windows Mixed Reality will be coming to Xbox One and Project Scorpio. So
Yeah,
I think that'll be another big selling point for these devices is if you have an Xbox One or Project Scorpio, there'll be some games, some VR games that are exclusively made for devices like this. So that'll make you want to go out and buy one. And I think they're supposed to start around $300. I'm not so sure about this particular unit, but I know in general the headsets are going to start around $300.
yeah. Do you think that mixed reality coming to Xbox One, which obviously we don't have a ton of details on, but it said their phrasing was quite interesting because they said it'd be coming to Xbox One family of devices, including Scorpio or something like they listed like including Scorpio. So to me that says it's not just Scorpio, or else they would have just said it. Like
Uh-huh.
if it was only Project Scorpio, they would have said, right? Isn't that how you read that?
Well, so I kind of interpret it as it's interesting because when I read that, I was thinking, so is Project Scorpio gonna be part of Xbox One? Like, is Xbox One the brand for all Xboxes going forward? I don't know though.
I get, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea what they're going to name that. Xbox One, 2. Well,
Yeah,
you already have the One Plus 3. Yeah,
yeah,
that's an Android device. It's somebody naming, but yeah, it's very interesting to me that you're going to have some form of this mixed reality coming along with hardware that we might already have, that you already have playable, and that's great because it's kind of funny. You realize all the things that your Xbox can do, all the, hey, wait a sec, where was this feature when it launched? But it's great to see them tinker with software so much and change software so much and update it that you could use some of this cutting edge technology with what will be by then a relatively old machine.
Yeah.
And I think that's very impressive.
Yeah. So going back to your comment about how you think, not everyone will have this like the phone. I think that's true because at least for these devices, the phone is something you use on the train, something you use while you're walking, it's something you use at the office. It's really something that's become a part of our lives. Whereas I think before that will happen for Windows mixed reality or just mixed reality in general, it really needs to miniaturize, to become something very close to, the size and weight of regular glasses. And I think that's still a ways off, but it's good to see that we're kind of taking steps in that direction. So yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
I think that that's great. I do think that mixed reality. I think honestly, for me, I would love it if my Xbox One could do that. I would be really interested in getting a device because it wouldn't be as much of an investment as something like a HoloLens, but I could get at least some mixed reality experience with it. And I think that's really great. So
So,
I thought there was such a focus on mixed reality from all the news coverage that I've seen. And you think, well, Mobile World Congress and the week that we had, you thought maybe most of the news that we had would be cell phone related. And you said, well, there haven't been a lot of cell phone related stuff. But obviously we have all this Xbox stuff. And we had a bunch of Mobile World Congress news that's actually related to Windows 10 from non-phone devices. So it's been a pretty big week. Let me read this exact quote. Let me see if I have it. I'm not sure I have his quote. I don't have. I just don't want to misquote.
you can
Spencer.
paraphrase.
Yeah, Alex Kipman. Oh, maybe it wasn't Spencer. Maybe it was Kipman. So this is on Xbox1UK.com. It says Alex Kipman of Microsoft said, "We're also excited to share that Windows mixed reality experiences will light up on other devices over time beyond desktop and Microsoft HoloLens. Our plan is to bring mixed reality content to the Xbox One family of devices, including Project Scorpio in 2018. So it doesn't sound like it'll be at launch because most people think that Scorpio is going to launch this year by the holidays. But 2018 obviously is a pretty open wingspan. But it says Xbox One family of devices. So that tells me it's not just Project Scorpio.
Yeah.
And that's there, at least there, it says our plan. So I guess they could change.
Mm-hmm.
But if this is the case for the big news, I think it's a big deal.
Yep. Yep.
Everyone could download your app that you made about city planning and then use it on their Xbox One.
So yeah, I think that if they are able to, so the expectation right now in the mixed reality community
Xbox Station
is Xbox Station expectation is that these devices will be available to purchase by holidays. We're all hoping it's going to start at that $300 mark, but a few of us are skeptical that it's probably going to be.
Oh, I doubt it'll be that. An Xbox One right now costs like $200.
Yeah.
And with games, maybe even more. I don't think the Scorpio is going to cost more than that.
No, not Scorpio. I was saying the mixed reality headsets.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the mixed reality headset. Yeah, maybe.
That would be nice if Scorpio was.
It won't be. Yeah, no. I'll be interested to see what these headsets cost.
Yeah. So yeah, if that happens, yeah, it'll be. I don't think. Yeah, like you said from Alex Kipman's post, it's probably we're probably not going to see Xbox specific mixed reality games until 2018. You can technically build a UWP app on the Xbox right now that uses mixed reality, where I can actually hook my HoloLens up to it and it can use that. But that's not really the kind of experiences that I think Xbox has in mind in terms of immersive games.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it'd be
fun.
interesting. Is there anything else on mixed reality before we get into some deeper Xbox stuff?
Nothing that's too pressing. There's some other small news, but we've got a lot to cover, so we can go ahead and move on.
All right, we might jump back into it, might not. Let's jump into some more Xbox stuff. We've obviously talked about Project Scorpio before, and according to Phil Spencer, Microsoft's planning to reveal Project Scorpio before E3. So the speculation by most people is that Microsoft probably wasn't even going to announce Project Scorpio last year. It was actually a bit of an odd decision, at least in some people's opinion, to announce Project Scorpio the same day that they talked about the Xbox One S. Because you're basically saying, yeah, buy this new upgraded version of the Xbox One, but also, yeah, next year there's going to be this huge, massive upgrade. And so it seemed a bit interesting, but most people thought, well, they wanted to compete with some of the new Sony hardware from the PlayStation line. So they kind of unveiled it, but very like, oh, it's going to have 6 teraflops. It's going to be great, but they didn't show too much of it. So this unveiling could be late, coming up here, but it might not be at E3. Some people thought E3. It sounds like maybe something like this might be a little bit sooner than that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they get from Scorpio because there's so much speculation on this device. Is it going to be just an Xbox with super amazing specs that also supports VR, or is it going to have some sort of Windows 10 connection? How are they going to integrate those? There's so many things that we want to know about this device. So yeah, the sooner the better when it comes to that.
Do you think that Project Scorpio will be revealed? I guess I don't know about revealed because it's already kind of been revealed. But do you think it'll be revealed more when some of these other devices are expected to be revealed in the spring? Nobody knows if that's really happening yet or not.
I don't know. I mean, some announcements are big enough that it doesn't really matter when you announce them. People used to think that, like films, you could only release certain types of films in the summer and then other films at different times. And then you get something like Star Wars comes out in December and blows up the box office. And so, yeah, even they had 2 Star Wars films in a row in December's blow up the box office, like Star Killer Base, just blowing up box office. No, the box office.
The Death Star.
And I think stuff like Xbox, Project, whatever they call Project Scorpio, Xbox, whatever, they can announce that whenever they want. It's going to make news. Just like Apple, if they announce an iPhone, they can announce that at midnight on a Sunday in the middle of June,
yep.
And it would be the trending story in the morning.
Everyone's going to write an article about it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that Xbox has that much that much power, but it has enough that it's going to be big news no matter what. So I don't think they have to worry about competing with other devices. As long as PlayStation doesn't reveal something the same day, I think it's fine.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yeah, so I when I heard that news, because me and several others are hoping there's nothing solid, there's no rumors or anything that says that this is confirmed, but we're hoping to see some sort of Surface Pro 5 type announcement pretty soon here. It's already March 3rd, so I'm kind of giving up that it's going to be in March, but maybe in April to go along with the creators update.
Yeah, unless you have an invite waiting in your email inbox right now.
No, no, I don't. So when I read that, I was like, well, I wonder if Microsoft's going to do something fun with the creators update and new Surface devices, and Project Scorpio might be included in that. So kind of a second big Windows 10 devices event, something that's maybe not quite as big as what we saw in October, but half that size. I don't know. I can hope.
I wonder if people would have a hard time digesting that much news at once.
Could be.
Like imagine, like today we were saying we have so much news. Imagine if instead of like a few devices and then rumors and then future stuff, it was all today. What if it was like mixed reality launched today, the Scorpio's unveiled today, all these devices are announced today? Like, it'd be a lot. So you might want to space it out.
So we already know. So I have a problem with revealed because we already know quite a bit about Scorpio, right? So what's left to reveal?
If it's really just an Xbox with great specs in VR, or does it have a tie with Windows 10? Comes to mind. If you're shoving that much power into something, how's it 4K native? You want some of these official confirmations of things that people have unveiled. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's probably because obviously we know it will be coming. So why don't we talk about some things that are already announced and they're available pretty soon here. And this is basically, it's Xbox Game Pass. It's very similar. It's like Netflix for games. That's the best way to put it. It's pretty much what it is. So I'll just read some of the stuff from our article on this. Microsoft today announced Xbox Game Pass, a new gaming subscription service coming later this spring, which will give Xbox fans access to 100 games for $9.99 a month. And so that's it's pretty exciting. I think some people can't afford the upfront cost of a game. You look, what does Halo Wars 2 cost? It's very expensive. Is it $70 or is it just $60?
Games right now, they go from $60 all the way to like $100. It's crazy.
And it's just so expensive. I mean, you think the hardware you're running it on is not is almost cheap. You know, you could probably buy a used Xbox One for between 150 and $200, and you're looking at a game almost costing half that much.
Yep.
And so Xbox Game Pass will give gamers unlimited access to over 100 Xbox One and backwards compatible Xbox 360 games. So some things including 2K, 505, Bandai, Capcom, Codemasters, Deep Silver, Focus, Home, Sega, Warner Bros., Interactive Media, and Microsoft Studios. We don't have an absolute complete list. There actually is a list now of the ones that are currently available-ish. So I think it's in like alpha or beta at the moment. So we don't have the full launch list that we'll get in later in spring, which, as I would point out, Microsoft Spring runs the autumn or the actual calendar of seasons, and it could be June 20th and still be spring. So, yeah, I think this is you're probably not going to get the brand newest games on this, but for someone who wants to just try lots of games, I think this would be good. What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely is. So the first thing I thought when I saw it is, man, I wish I had more time to play games. So it's probably not geared at people like me who are not who don't spend a ton of time playing games and who probably would miss out on that $9.99 a month. But I can definitely see a lot of people getting this. I was reading also on Reddit that a lot of people are asking if there's a way that this could be bundled in with Xbox Live, because right now they're two separate services. So that's kind of an interesting idea on that front too. Although Microsoft
I think they specifically mentioned that it's not going to compete or replace Gold, but it is worth pointing out that they actually said Xbox Live Gold members will receive exclusive access to Xbox Game Pass prior to the program launching to the rest of the people. So
quick little comment survey. We have 2/3 of the people say they will not get the Xbox Game Pass.
I think it's an interesting concept, and in general it's interesting. People seem in this day and age, and I think Netflix is a big part of this, Spotify as well, to pay a monthly subscription fee from now until the day they die, rather than buy things up front and own them themselves.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because I think the users must feel that they're getting more for their money, but also the producers must feel like they're making money or they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like Netflix must make people money or it wouldn't be here. Spotify is the same way. Even Apple Music, Groove Music Pass. I'm much more likely, I think, to pay $6 or $7 a month for Groove Music Pass than to just buy every song that I would ever like.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for some media, that's Netflix, Groove Music, Apple Music, Spotify. Those are the types of things people are paying for. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with like Spotify, for example, or Groove or Google Music or all the music streaming services, when you pay money, you're getting access to the latest and the greatest if you want, right? But with Netflix, you don't get to necessarily choose the latest movies. Sometimes they have good movies on there. I feel like this is definitely more similar to Netflix, where there maybe will be a couple of really good games, but for the most part, you'll probably get access to some mid-range, maybe not like the most terrible games and old games, but some mid-range games. But you'll definitely still have to pay if you want to get the latest and greatest, right?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I'll give you an example. So every year EA comes out. EA actually has a similar service to this, I think. EA comes out with Madden every year. Same with FIFA. Same with NBA. 2K, whatever the year is. It costs if you get the Ultimate Edition of Madden, I think it costs $70, if not more than that. But they're at least 50, I'm sure. And then now you see they go down because the game's not brand new. Now you can actually get Madden for relatively cheap because it's out of date, even though they update rosters. I think it just keeps up to. In any event, the point is that they go down in price. Well, if you have I'm predicting you wouldn't get Madden 18 the day it launched on Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
But you'll probably get some of the Halo games. One of them's already on there, but it's not the main title. I think it's like one of the side ones. But you probably get some of the Halo games. Microsoft will probably put their 1 or 2 year old stuff on there. And you know what? As someone who doesn't own any of the Halo games right now, this could be a cheap way for me to play Halo Guardians, Halo 5, Halo Master Chief Collection, if those come to it, of course. But then also get to try new games. And that's the advantage of Netflix, And a service like this is you're willing to try new games that you probably wouldn't buy, but you might fall in love with. And then
Mm-hmm.
you might get to buy them maybe even for a discount. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right.
So I think that's pretty exciting. It should be coming up here pretty soon. It says coming later this spring. So, and they do have Halo 5 as one of the images. So I guess maybe it
That's
is.
the
It's
first
Halo
and
5.
foremost.
What was that?
That's the first and foremost image on
Yeah,
there.
well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's a used copy of Halo 5 at the local game near me for about 19 quid. But, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you'd be doing this just for one game.
Yep.
All right. Also in the gaming front, all sorts of different things. I'm going to read a brief comment from Phil Spencer on Twitter, and then we're going to talk about something that's somewhat related but not directly related.
Okay.
Somebody asked him about UWP bringing apps and games to the Xbox One. And Nick Duran on Twitter asked him about that. And Phil Spencer said, I do think UWP will bring apps and games to Xbox One. See things like Fallout Shelter, Tableau app, etc. Need work towards AAA games. So you see UWP is part of this model. Well, then we also got news this week about the Creators Program. About the Creators Program for Xbox. It's Xbox Live Creators Program. It's announced GDC. We have full write-up here. And it's basically an opening up of the universal app platform, but to games rather than just apps. Now, they're, specifically it says, this what we wrote, it will allow any developer to integrate Xbox Live into their game and publish to Xbox One and Windows 10 without the need for concept approval. So it's not the ID Xbox program. It's more through the universal side. And what it's for is creators, again from our article, program developers will be able to integrate Xbox Live sign-in, presence, and social features into their UWP games, then publish their game to Xbox One and Windows 10, which is great because it would give you an option for all sorts of games, but not quite as restricted as ID, which helps the ID Xbox helps the quality go up, but this opens it up for more people to try out different stuff. But I think it's going to be in a different section, so people won't get like a UWP game through the Creators Program confused with the AAA title, like whatever the new anything Forza is or whatever.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this, Sean? Do you think this is a good thing when it comes to the Xbox, but also to UWP as an app model?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of different hurdles that Microsoft had to think, when they're opening up the Xbox to run UWP apps and vice versa, and how, I think this is one of those hurdles. And I think this is a great solution to that problem where you don't want to put that, massive Xbox review process on any old UWP game that independent developers want to create. And I think this is, a good step in the right direction. It makes me wonder if there's going to be kind of 3 tiers of games now. If it's going to be the AAA titles, the ID at Xbox, the independent, and then one that's even lower than that, which is the creators, kind of dubbed as the creators Xbox. So I don't know. What do you think? There'll be 3 tiers or still just 2?
I don't know. I just think as long as this is off in a different section, there actually are slightly different capabilities here. I have the chart here on developer.microsoft.com.
Oh, nice.
On the difference between ID Xbox and the Creators Update. A lot of them are very similar. Obviously, I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm just going off of this chart and the article. But it says ID Xbox and Creator Update if it's supported. So like sign up, they're both supported. Sign in, supported. Presence is rich versus basic. But Games Hub, Game DVR, and Broadcast supported. Sociograph, ID Xbox supported. It's limited on creators. So you're seeing a little bit of differences. One of the more notable ones, there's other ones. You can obviously read about it on our site as well as theirs. But multiplayer says ID Xbox supported, Creators Program not supported. So for multiplayer game, not supported for Creators Program. So that's a difference thing. Achievements also, ID Xbox supported, Creators Program not supported. So you're not getting everything, but it is letting you get your game out there. And you know what? Isn't that what an open store is about? Mm-hmm. That someone could create a home run game, knock it out of the park, with these, maybe they can make a little bit of money and then they could go through a more formal process and make an even better game.
Yeah.
That's one of the beauties of having an open store like this
Yeah.
when it comes to apps or games. I think that's great.
Yep. Because right now, for example, I could develop in just a couple days, I could develop a really crude, simple game for the HoloLens, right? And if they're bringing mixed reality to the Xbox, I can see something like that being put on there without me having to be like, oh, okay, this doesn't meet the Xbox standards and, whatever, right? So I can definitely see room for developers like that who want to get something quick and simple out on the market to test. So yeah, I personally, I think this is a great idea, and I would love to see what people come up with in that store.
Yeah, and I think that you'll see all sorts of the pricing's a bit different as well. Maybe you'll see, I only have $5 or $10. Be a game in there for that. You don't know. I mean, there are apps for that. There are games on the App Store now that aren't that expensive.
Yeah.
So maybe you start getting games on an Xbox for much less money. I think it'd be great.
Yep. Yeah. It's interesting. It seems like this huge shift, it's been coming for a while, and only now it's starting to materialize, this unification. Yeah. And there's just so many nooks and crannies that I honestly didn't even think about. But yeah, there's a lot that Microsoft has to do.
There's one thing that I forgot to mention that's actually pretty important about the Game Pass on Xbox One.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be local playback of these games.
Local playback?
As in, it's not going to be streaming from some sort of cloud server. You're going to have the game on your device.
Because that's what PlayStation does, right?
Well, PlayStation does some sort of streaming, right?
Yep.
Is that PlayStation View? Is that what it is? I don't have a PlayStation.
Yeah, something.
So yeah, I think I'm pretty sure they said it's going to be download them. Yeah, it says right here you can discover and download the full titles directly on your Xbox One, unlike Sony's PlayStation Now streaming service. So that's great as well because there's no streaming lag issues or connectivity issues. I haven't used PlayStation Now. Maybe it's great. I have no idea. But I would rather have it on my device than have to use the internet connection all the time. So I think that's great.
So I
forgot to mention that, and it is worth pointing out.
Yeah, I recently got a 2 terabyte hard drive for my Xbox because it started running out of space. Mostly all the games with gold that I download and never play. It's just clogging up my drive.
I downloaded Xbox. I downloaded Star Wars: The Force Unleashed because I knew it had good ratings, but I still haven't played it.
Oh,
I just downloaded it.
I actually have played that game, and I was, I don't know if it's kid appropriate, but I was, playing it as entertainment for my kids, and it's actually pretty fun. I like it. It's a good game.
Oh, I know he just got his limb chopped off. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There's no blood, so that's good.
Yeah. All right, then. Lawlington, if you do me a favor, try to be nice in the comments. We do not appreciate that kind of language. We have to get a moderator back on here. In fact, I might, Sean, while I'm talking about this, if you, on the YouTubes, want to take a look at him, see if he said anything that's worth either muting him or moderating him, that'd be great. Okay. Or her. I have no idea if LOL Lawlington's a boy or girl. Anyway, let me get into this about Mobile World Congress. So Mobile World Congress, as you would expect, it's mobile, but it's not just phones. In fact, there's actually a lot of car news, I think, there. But in any event, there was no official Windows 10 mobile device unveiling. There wasn't like a new Lumia or whatever. In fact, you could actually make the argument that there's probably they even lost one because Nuance Neo, I think, announced an Android one, and they used to be a Windows 10 mobile provider. But yeah, in any event, so there's nothing officially announced, but there was a new HP mystery device spotted in this glass case in the back. Did you read about this, Sean?
No.
Yeah, so there's no new college, but according to PC World, they're displaying an HP Elite X3 look-alike at its Mobile World Congress booth. Though the mysterious handset had no label and it's protected under a glass case, according to Windows Central. And so there's a few different changes here. So the front camera on this handset is located on the side of the display instead of the left instead of right. The bezels are thinner. The speaker grill doesn't seem to have that Bang & Olufsen branding. And you can also see handset. So I don't know if this was a concept or what it was. There wasn't an official thing on it as far as I know. I guess this shows that HP isn't pulling out, so that's a positive thing because some developers or some OEMs pull out of Windows after a bit. So this seems
Yeah.
we didn't get an official unveiling. So I don't know
Interesting.
about. There's not a ton in that front, but it's very interesting to see that they have this mystery box in the back.
Okay, so it's kind of like, yeah, maybe a teaser. Does that mean it's going to be
I,
pretty big
I don't know
news?
what it is. I don't know why you would even have it if you didn't then talk about it. You tell me nobody asked about it and then got an answer. Either nobody asked, which I'm sure isn't the case. I'm sure somebody asked, but they just didn't get an answer. But I guess to me, what I would take is HP would not put a device at a mobile congress if they were going to pull out anytime soon. So that tells me that they seem pretty committed to Windows, at least for now. And that's a good sign.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
If any company is going to benefit from from Windows 10 on ARM or Snapdragon 835s and that stuff, it's going to be HP because they make one of the best Windows phones ever. We just did an article this week, didn't we, on how the HP Elite X3 is the best Windows phone that they've ever owned?
Yeah. Now, what was do we know what the device was that was shown at the debut of the Creators Update where they used an HP phone to kind of 3D scan that sandcastle?
We knew what processor it was, but I don't think we knew what. No, for that one, I don't know if we know what phone it
So
was.
I wonder if it's that phone maybe or something based on that.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see. We got some more details on other devices though. Sean, you're a big Surface guy.
Uh-huh.
Did, if if you had to guess, would you? If I gave you 100 guesses going into Mobile World Congress, would you have thought that Porsche design would have revealed the Surface Book competitor?
No, so
I didn't even know that was a thing, but this thing looks absolutely
yeah,
amazing.
so I've got a picture of it up right now. And I didn't even know that Porsche Design made. I'd never really heard of their name before for laptops like this. So yeah, I was blown away when I saw that.
Yeah. Let me run through some of the specs here. Let me see. So Porsche Design Book 1. Always gotta love those naming schemes. Let's see here. It's got a touchscreen display, precision touchpad. Let me get some of the, if we have
I'm showing
actually.
the pictures on the live stream
Aha,
right now
yes, you
too.
got the pictures. Thank you there. Let me read some of these specs. 3200 by 1800 pixels, 13-inch QHD display, IPS display. Get some of this. Intel Core i7 7500U clocked at
Wow,
3.5 gigahertz,
wow,
16 gigabytes of RAM, noiseless 512 gigabyte Intel SSD, two USB-C ports, two USB 3.0 ports, dual band Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and Windows 10 Pro. Is an absolutely great looking device, not to mention the fact that it's a fully rotatable device, similar to maybe what you've seen from like a X360 design, but it's also detachable, isn't it?
is it detachable? It looks
Is
like
it?
it. Yeah.
I think, I think, yeah, it's also so it's a two-in-one flippy book, detachable, top spec, gorgeous device made by Porsche Design. I
Wow.
mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
There's one downside, Sean.
What is that?
Costs just under $2,500.
That's always the downside when it comes to
So
these
get that
premium
Patreon
devices.
going, mate, because we want one for.
Wow. Wow. But that's pretty close to the Surface Book prices for the high-end Surface Book prices. So,
Actually, yeah, that's a good point.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy. Yeah, I don't know.
Absolute gorgeous looking
I
device.
definitely like that you can spin the screen all the way back. I think that was I did strongly consider the Surface Book, but ultimately that was the straw in the camel's back that was a deal breaker for me. I needed something that I didn't want to have to undock the screen, rotate it, and then lay it flat to kind of get that functionality. So
Hmm.
ultimately went with the Surface Pro 4. But yeah, with this one, it's a little bit thick, but hey, it seems like a good trade-off if you've got the
I
budget for
I
it.
actually wonder if the next Surface Book will actually do this.
I hope so because it
Does
it,
it, from a form factor design, doesn't this actually seem better than what the Surface Book currently does?
it seems without actually having my hands on it, it does seem like it does everything that the Surface Book does plus a little bit more, and
Because you
it's
get
got the
that
Porsche name.
detachable, but also, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, wow, Porsche. Wow, this is
So if anyone is feeling generous, um, I'd love it as a gift.
Shawn
That'd be great.
Michael. Yeah, Christmas is
So,
still a ways away, but you can save money.
I'll get you my PayPal details.
Wow.
No, it does look great though. I'm excited to see more people do hands-on that sort of thing with it. Looks
Yes.
gorgeous, and it'll be very interesting to
So
see.
this was at Mobile World Congress, right?
Was it? I think so.
So it's interesting because I saw on Microsoft put out an article saying that 2-in-1 stole the show at Mobile World Congress. In the past several years, Mobile World Congress has been the kind of premier event for Android phones and phone announcements, and that's where you hear all the big news. But this year, I was like, "What's going on? I'm barely hearing anything," and it's all about these Windows devices.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, no, it's great. For time's sake, why don't we jump into another one? There was the Samsung Galaxy Book. It's been announced.
great.
I'm reading some things from T3.com here because they were talking about hands-on with the book because they were there. And I guess I'll just to make a long story short, it looks like an iPad Pro competitor. It's more iPad Pro in terms of form factor, where it's like a tablet with like a attachable keyboard,
Uh-huh.
where it kind of folds and stuff. So it's not quite as integrated that way, but you get some really cool things here. There are a couple versions, and the 12-inch version has a Super AMOLED display,
Hmm.
which can be real cool to see a Windows 10 device of that size running AMOLED. I don't know of another one that does that. There could be. Correct me in the comments. Feel free. I don't know of another AMOLED display device. It's a 12-inch tablet, especially like this. And then also, it's going to have the S Pen. I'm pretty sure just built in right into the side, like it is on the phone, like on the Note before they started
Oh,
blowing
that's
up.
so nice. That is so
And
nice.
I've wanted that on the Surface for a long time. So I think that this is a great example of an OEM making an innovative design. I think it's really great. There's also a smaller version that is an LCD screen as well. But it looks really interesting here to get some of these. You know, people said Surface would affect. It's supposed to innovate, and so you see a Porsche thing that's kind of taking design cues from the Surface Book but improving it, and then you see an iPad Pro competitor when the iPad Pro itself was kind of trying to imitate the Surface, but this is from Samsung, going to be apparently it looks like a very solid device. So it'd be very interesting to see how this works. There's two USB or there's a USB-C for charging, and that's so some of these more modern updates that you want. And it looks like a pretty solid tablet, but it's running
Yeah.
Windows 10. So if you're a Windows fan, could be another competitor out
So,
there. They're talking about. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
you really have to give props to Microsoft for being a leader in kind of seeing how the OEMs were starting to slack and kind of putting some pressure on them with the Surface line. And then there's been a ton of Surface clones, and some devices that are even better in some respects. And yeah, their strategy is really, really starting to work. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's cool. It's cool. I love seeing all these devices.
yeah. So there you go. And I mean, it's here. They got a picture, and it's supporting two displays through USB-C. Isn't that great? It looks great. So that's that there. I'm just trying to look here. There's other stuff as well. Is there anything else from Mobile World Congress that stuck out to you? I got some Android stuff, but this ain't an Android podcast. This is a Windows podcast, man.
Yeah. Honestly, not really. I mean, I don't know if you want to cover any highlights or not. I didn't see anything too exciting, and there didn't seem to be that many headlines on Mobile World Congress either. So it just kind of for me, it was another kind of a small sideshow, unlike previous years.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. It looks wonderful for some of these devices here, and I think that Surface really has accomplished its goal. Obviously, they're going to keep doing stuff and innovating, but man, if their goal was to innovate the two-in-one and the laptop worlds and they are doing that because you see so many innovative devices that, like you said, some of them doing it even better, but probably wouldn't be here without it. So Microsoft did a good job, and then full kudos to people like Porsche Design and Samsung for stepping up and doing that. I didn't know Samsung would jump in the game and make so many Windows devices. I thought they were pretty loyal to Android. But I think it's great to see that they're going to have some. I mean, they have Android ones as well, but it's great to see
Yeah,
this. We have some non-mobile World Congress news to talk about.
great.
I'm sorry the podcast is a bit long. I'll try to keep this short. Basically, there was some debate on if Windows 10 Cloud would be able to run apps that weren't UWP,
Mm-hmm.
and basically, yeah, it's going to be able to, as far as we know. Again, I still don't think there's been any official announcement from Microsoft that this thing even exists. But apparently, Windows 10 Cloud will be able to run Win32 apps from the Windows Store. So most notably, things like Evernote, Slack, You have the Slack version through the store, so maybe you could talk about that.
Yeah.
If it's through desktop converter like Projects Intent, as long as it's in the store, apparently it's going to be able to run it. Do you want to talk about how you got Slack this week?
So yeah, so actually started out because Slack was running a little slow for some reason, so I decided to uninstall it. So I uninstalled it, almost went to the website to download it again, and then I'm like, I remember that Slack is now a UWP app. So I went into the Windows Store, found Slack, downloaded it, and literally noticed that there was no difference whatsoever. The taskbar icon is still there. When I open it up, it behaves exactly like how Slack used to behave. I've got it open right now, and I forgot it was a non-desktop app. Literally, there's no difference as far as I can tell, unless somebody else knows something that I don't. There is no difference than if I had just went to their website, clicked on the link, downloaded it, ran all that. But except in my opinion, downloading stuff from the Windows Store is way easier than installing it from downloading it from a browser. You save like 3 steps, and you don't have to clog up your drive with the downloaded files. So I loved it. It was like, wow, this feels good. I wish
Yeah, no, I think
everything
it's
could
great.
be
So
like
the
that.
idea that if it's in the Windows Store, you can makes things like Project Centennial make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Because at first you were kind of like, why would someone do this? I mean, there were a few advantages and it would show up better, but like everybody knows Slack.
Uh-huh.
Like, why would Slack need to make an app in the Windows Store? But if you're running Windows 10 Cloud, apparently, or who knows what other form, maybe in the future, I'm not saying this is true, but maybe in the future, maybe mobile could run a Centennial thing. I don't know. Maybe someday. They can't now, but maybe in the future it could. And if
Yeah.
there's going to be a point, the UWP is great, but the store is useful. And all these different bridges coming into play seems to me this is going to be a big hit for Centennial. If it's going to compete with Chromebook, then it needs to be able to have any type of app that's in that store run on it. Because you don't want someone buying a Windows 10 cloud device and then not be able to download an app that's in the store that they can see, and then it goes, oh, this app's not available.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that's
And I should mention, I
opposite.
think I mentioned this last time, but because Slack is in the Windows Store, I also am able to download it from my HoloLens too.
Yeah, there you
That's an
go. So
added
you can
bonus.
Slack on your HoloLens.
Yep, there you go.
Isn't it great? See this the Windows 10 store in action.
Yes, yes. All right,
Yeah,
well,
also, I mean, there are a lot of arguments to be made for the store. I understand some people they like being able to use exe, and download different things from outside the store. And there was a bit of a kerfuffle, little disagreement online with some people because on full Windows 10 there were some headlines out there that you might have seen, and it'll say something like Windows 10 will soon block non-store apps the way Mac or OS X does, and that's not really true. There is good.
that
There is
that
going to be an
headline
option.
spread pretty quickly.
Yeah, and those happen. There's certain sites that I'm not a big fan of for doing that. Apparently, it's going to be an option. So the Windows 10 Creator Update, this headline right here, will have options to limit app downloads to the Windows Store. Mind you, that option, at least as of now, is off by default. And there's a few options: allow apps from anywhere, prefer apps from the store, but allow apps from anywhere, allow apps from the store only. But the default option right now is anywhere.
Mm.
And so I guess this is an option. I don't know if someone wants, maybe they have education or kids or whatever. Maybe they want to lock that into only store apps because those store apps can't ruin the computer.
Yeah.
It's
So
great.
I know
Um,
people who they not intentionally, but they love to click those little green download now buttons from
mhm,
spammy websites.
yeah.
And I've spent I don't know how many hours in my life just, helping people, get their viruses off their PC and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I would love to be able to just enable that so that we don't have to deal with this for certain people in our lives that tend to download viruses.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound mean, but you have those friends in your life, and they might
Yes.
be kids or they might just be people that aren't tech savvy, that you kind of need to set up their PC for them and then make sure they can't break it.
Yes. Yep. That's
And
why that's
or
what
they
I
just don't
loved
want to
about.
deal with it. Maybe
Yep.
they won't break it, but they just don't want to deal with it. And if you just say, look, if you see an app you can download it, great. It's not going to hurt your computer. That's great for kids, great for older people, great for people who aren't used to technology. Just
Uh-huh.
makes it a little bit easier. But as always, options are better than no options. I'm glad you can turn it to anywhere. I hope that's, stays the
Yes.
default.
Yeah. As long as you can, for advanced users, you've got more, capabilities. That's a plus. It's like, I recommended the Surface RT, Surface 2 RT to a few people who I knew struggled a little bit more with, downloading, viruses and stuff like that. Zero issues. Like it was the best thing I recommended. They loved it. I loved that I didn't have to help, and it was perfect. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
excited.
that's like you've seen the iPad Pro commercials, which we don't have time to talk about today fully. But one of them is like, "Oh, I got a virus on my PC," and then they're like, "iPad Pro doesn't get viruses." Well, if you have a more secure Windows 10 that you could kind of idiot proof for people that and sometimes virus happens. It's not your fault. Sometimes it is your fault. Make it a little bit safer, a little more secure, but on more devices, I think it's a good option. So,
Yep.
yeah, don't believe all the headlines you see. Come to me and Sean. Good, no, go talk to other people as well. But we'll
Yes.
try to straighten things out where we can, and just sometimes if something seems sensationalized and through the roof, this isn't just Microsoft news. Just try to read about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about fake news. Just pay attention. Go look
Fake
for a
fake
couple other
news is in right
sources.
now, Sean.
What was that?
Fake news is in.
Well, you know what? I'd rather be. Well, never mind. I don't want to get into that. My point is that a lot of fake news going. Just read the stuff. If it seems sensationalist, go look at a few different sources. Talk to find an expert on Twitter and talk to them or see what they're saying about it. Listen to people that are educated on that topic, and I think you'll get a better answer that way.
Yep.
But anyway, preach over there. Is there anything else from this week that we have to cover? I know we had to skip some things, but is
No,
that all the major
nothing. I
news?
think we covered the big important news. I think our viewers are up to date, so I think we're pretty good. We were able to actually squeeze it in pretty good in the time we had.
Yeah, but a little bit longer than we probably wanted, but
Yeah.
it is there. So
Cool.
yeah. Well, all right, then we'll go ahead and wind down. This has been Talk Microsoft, episode 15. Remember we had that Phantom episode once. So
Yes.
episode 15. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Sean Mike. You can find me on Twitter at Sean_Michael_UK. And you can find Sean Ung, the other co-host, on Twitter at
Sean_Ong.
you can talk with us about Microsoft anytime you want on Twitter. You can
Yep.
also check out onmicrosoft.com. Remember, that's on msft.com, especially over the weekend on a week like this. You're going to want them weekend recaps. So check them out. Xbox news, all sorts of different things. Keep an eye out there. But also throughout the week, we're going to update you as well. So keep an eye on there. Follow us on Twitter or Facebook, whatever social media you need. Keep an eye on the website as well. Let me see here. We got this podcast, got hands-on videos, reviews, all sorts of things. Got some reviews coming up I can't even tell you about because I just saw them in the queue and they said that they were currently being edited. So
Uh-huh.
so there you go. Yeah, so check that out. Talk to us on Twitter. Talk to us in the comments during the live show if you can every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. That's Redmond time. Also Sean's time.
Yep, that's right.
And yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for joining us. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.